So in this section, we're looking at measures of central tendency, which means measures of the middle. So different ways we can find the middle include finding the mean, the median, and the mode for a set of data. And we also want to find out the range. So the first thing I like to do is looking at an example like number 1b on B3 is to take the numbers and put them in order from smallest to biggest, which you can see I've done here. And then it's easy to identify what the lowest number is. I'll call that the minimum because it's at the bottom. And I'll call the biggest number the maximum because it's at the top. And then in order to find the range, we just subtract the minimum from the maximum. So 32 minus 13, which is 29. So this is just the minimum taken away from the maximum. Okay. Then we get into our measures of the middle. The first one I'm going to talk about is the mean. So the mean is also called the average. And what you want to do for that is add up all of the numbers in your list and divide by the number of entries that you have. So here we have 8 numbers. So I'm going to start by finding the sum of all of the numbers in the list. So just add those numbers up. And then I'm going to take that whole sum and I'm going to divide it by 8 because there's 8 numbers. So I start with the adding. So I'm getting 184 as the sum of all the numbers in the list, and then I have to divide that by 8. So my mean is 23. The next measure of the middle, the median, is literally the middle. So median is the middle. So the middle number, it may appear in the list or it may not. So here, if I take 8 entries and I divide it by 2, I know that there should be 4 numbers on either side of the middle. So here you'll notice the issue is that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So my middle number will actually be between the 4th and the 5th entry. So what I want to do is take those 2 middle numbers, the 4th and the 5th number, add them up, and divide by 2. So I want to find the average of those 2 middle numbers, which will tell me the middle. So 46 divided by 2 also gives me 23. So it's not always the case that the mean and the median match. In this case, they do. But oftentimes, the median is going to be your better measure. It can be different than the mean. And it doesn't take in account if there's a number that's really, really big or really too small. And so it's throwing the data off. The nice thing about the median is that it's just the middle number. So it's not swayed or impacted by those really big or really small numbers that you may or may not want to use because maybe they're completely sort of an outlier, we call it, or a number that doesn't really make sense with the rest of the data. So oftentimes we use the median because it's not as sensitive to change in individual entries. And then finally, the mode is the most popular number or the number that shows up most frequently. In this list, all of the numbers are only listed once, so there is no mode. But if you had 2 of the same number anywhere in that list, it would become the mode. Or if you had 3 of one number and 3 of the other number, there could be 2 modes. But in this case, all of them are only listed once, so there is no mode for the data.